Have you ever felt that bitter sting of being ignored in a conversation, watched your ideas get steamrolled, or realized nobody's actually listening when you speak? Most people buy into the naive myth that to be respected, you've got to talk loudly, force your opinions on people, or dominate every debate at the top of your voice. The counterintuitive truth is that the harder you try to prove your worth through words, the weaker and more desperate you come across to everyone around you. Dark psychology reveals that real respect isn't asked for, it's extracted in silence, long before you even open your mouth. Why keep putting up with the embarrassment of watching your presence get wiped out at work or in your relationships, when you could learn, in just a few minutes, the secrets of body language that build unshakable authority and get you respected instantly in any room? Topic 1. Controlled movement and the slow motion effect: dominance through caloric efficiency. Notice how most people live in a constant state of rush and fuss, reacting instantly to every noise or stimulus around them. When someone calls their name in a crowded room, the average person whips their head round in the blink of an eye, giving away an almost childlike eagerness to be helpful. A true leader, on the other hand, moves with the fluid precision of a chess master, conserving energy and letting time itself seem to slow down around them. That physical calm projects a quiet authority that makes everyone else instinctively fall into step with their pace. Picture walking into a pub in Mayfair, or a make-or-break meeting in the City of London. While the insecure bloke fiddles with his coat 3 times over and blinks non-stop, the man with unshakable presence makes calm, measured transitions. Think of the flawless composure described in the great classics of self-development literature, where economy of movement signals total emotional control over the situation. If you fancy putting this into practice today, try slowing down the speed at which you turn your neck when called by about 20%, and consciously cut down how often you blink. That simple recalibration tells the other person's brain, on a gut level, that you're not easily rattled. By mastering the rhythm of your own body, you stop being a mere reactive bystander and become the gravitational anchor of any conversation. This caloric efficiency in your movements acts like an invisible filter, sorting out the attention seekers from those who draw it in naturally, without lifting a finger. That said, controlling how quickly you move is only the first layer of this shield of sovereign presence we're building here. There's one extremely common, subtle physical habit that destroys this aura of power in seconds flat, and you're probably doing it without even realizing. Topic 2. Unshakable posture and eliminating micro-reactions. The anti-fidget protocol. It's astonishing how quickly small nervous tics give away someone's anxiety, even when they're trying their hardest to look confident. Fiddling endlessly with a ring, tugging at your collar, or jiggling your leg under the table. These are proper energy leaks that scream a lack of self-control. The wise observer understands that genuine physical steadiness comes from deep inner stillness, where the body stays as stable as an ancient statue in the British Museum. By cutting out these reactive little movements, you start giving off an almost hypnotic sense of power and self-mastery to everyone in the room. Think of it as cultivating an unshakable calm, much like the Stoic discipline taught by Marcus Aurelius in his timeless work Meditations. To put the anti-fidget protocol into practice in your day-to-day life, try this simple test during a coffee or a formal chat. Rest your forearms on the table, relaxed, and decide not to move a single finger while the other person is talking. If you feel the urge to shift in your seat, take a deep breath through your nose and hold your posture as firm as a rock in the middle of the sea. That strategic stillness stops people focusing on your gestures and gets them respecting your mere presence instead. When you clear all that unnecessary noise out of your body language, your actions suddenly carry far more weight than usual. Your silence starts being read as a deliberate choice rather than shyness, creating a sense of mystery that draws people in. This posture, solid as a historic building, lays the perfect foundation for your next step towards unconditional respect. But true command of the room only comes together once you learn to use your gaze and how you occupy space too. Claim your territory without ever needing to say a word. Topic 3. Strategic eye contact and spatial dominance. Claiming territory without aggression. You know how it is. The way a person occupies the space around them reveals exactly how much respect they believe they deserve from the world. The insecure type tends to shrink, crossing their arms tightly and looking away at the slightest hint of conflict. The true leader, by contrast, claims their territory with a relaxed posture, keeping shoulders open and holding a calm, unbroken gaze. That combination of unaggressive physical expansion and focused eye contact instantly signals elevated status, making others naturally step aside and adjust their behavior around you. To master this territorial presence at a business dinner or on the London Underground, the trick is to focus your gaze on the triangle formed between the eyes and the center of the forehead. Behavioral expert Joe Navarro, in his acclaimed book What Everybody is Saying, explains how continuous eye contact and an open torso signal a total absence of perceived threat and rock-solid self-confidence. When you sit down in a meeting, avoid hiding your hands under the table and use the armrests naturally and openly. This simple habit shows you feel at ease in any environment. This art of claiming your space without ever having to push anyone around creates an irresistible social magnetism that earns respect from everyone. The people around you start to realize you've got an inner calm so solid that you don't need to desperately compete for attention. Your mere presence in the room starts to give off a sense of security and leadership that needs no introduction. But the final piece of this quiet power machine isn't about what you do with your body. It's about how you use complete silence to make others come chasing your approval. Topic 4. The weaponized silence making others seek your approval. Few things in human interaction are as overwhelming as having the nerve to hold dead silence after a provocation or a question. Most people panic the moment there's a lull in the conversation and rush to fill the gap with unnecessary words, justifications, and nervous laughter. The wise strategist, though, uses silence as a psychological magnifying glass, sending the pressure straight back to the other person with a calm, neutral look. That brief pause forces them to reconsider what they've just said and instinctively start seeking your approval. Think of tactical silence as a high-level negotiation tool, laid out in meticulous detail by Chris Voss in his game-changing book Never Split the Difference. When you hear an outrageous proposal or a snide remark at work, simply don't respond straight away. Hold out for 3 long seconds, keeping your expression calm and your breathing steady. Watch the magic happen. 9 times out of 10 the other person will start explaining themselves, softening their tone, or offering concessions just to break the tension in the air. This discipline shows that your attention is a valuable commodity that has to be earned. By bringing together slow movement, elegant stillness, spatial dominance, and strategic silence, you build a magnetic and truly unshakable presence. Respect stops being something you beg for and becomes an inevitable consequence of the way you carry yourself in the world. You become that rare kind of person who shapes the mood of a room without ever raising their voice. And with this solid foundation now polished and in place, we're ready to bring all these pieces together on one final, unforgettable journey. Conclusion. Carrying on as the person who gets ignored in the room and accepting a lack of respect as if it were just normal is a passive stance that'll cost you dearly down the line. You weren't born to be just another forgettable face at the back of the room, nor to watch less prepared people take your space simply because they shout louder. Body language and silent presence techniques aren't just etiquette tips. They're powerful psychological tools to help you reclaim your self-worth, set invisible boundaries, and command respect naturally. Why carry on acting insecure and reactive when you have the power to become an unshakable authority without ever saying a single word? Have a think about this. If you keep bowing your head, hunching your shoulders, and agreeing with everything out of fear of confrontation, where will your morale and your career be a year from now? Are you going to keep letting others walk all over your social space, or are you ready to take on the stillness of the strong and change the rules of the game starting today? True dominance doesn't belong to those who make the most noise, but to those who have complete control over themselves and project power through their mere presence. The choice to transform your nonverbal impact is entirely yours, but remember, the world treats you exactly the way you position yourself in front of it. If you're determined to never be invisible again, want to keep building your personal magnetism, and are ready to master the deepest strategies of body language and social intelligence, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. By joining our community today, you're setting yourself up for constant learning to become the most confident, respected, and influential version of yourself. Don't let this knowledge die on the page. Put that first silent pause into practice in your very next conversation. Feel the difference, and I'll see you in the next video.